Okay, this is from July 29th, 2019. It's a long title. Indifference, Revenge Fantasies, Revolution, Choices, Free Speech, End of Rule of Law, Art is Last Hope to the Day. Preface, Process. Quite a weekend. Life follows the structure of a Tarantino movie, a simple story with characters observed in loving detail, affection for them unrepressed, their flaws not ignored, places regarded in the same manner, simplicity beneath the complex image compositions of the continuous running shot of my eyes, cameras rolling through the world from location to location, all relevant to the tale, and the surreal compositions of my mind, the mind's eye, which add a comment to it all. A who, a what, a where, and a comment. It's the comment which gives the meaning. So what to do with the weekend? So rich in observations, leading to personal and universal insights, feeling like coherence, but epic and novelistic in scope. So many strands in the process of being weaved into a tapestry, but they must be written down in some fashion, a complete piece of the moment, and a rough draft of the future. Not even a draft, rather notes, time bends. The weekend can be memorialized, the life a work in progress, following a story arc, yet to be completed. Indifference. I usually write from memory. The memory is accompanied by feeling, sometimes painful, sometimes happy, always strong. The writing turns the random, disjointed events of my life into a story, and I get to make my comments through the story and move on. Many past events stay in my memory for only a brief time. They are not relevant to the story, or the relevance is in fact that they are ignored. Natural editing. I saw an old friend from Second City, one of my closest. He is a historian of sorts of that institution and improvisation in general. And he remembered a time, maybe 10 years ago, when he and I visited Second City and we were invited to do the set with the then current company, as alumni often are. And I remembered that we did that set, and I remembered that I did something in that set on the topic of pedophilia. And I remember a vague feeling that I didn't like that company as people or as artists. I thought they were dull, dumb, and mean spirited. The feeling wasn't strong enough to be retained in my memory. For my friend, the memory is more detailed and vivid. It made his Tarantino movie as opposed to my cutting room floor. He told me that the cast made me a pedophile in an improvisation. And he refreshed my recollection. They did so. Because I'm not a famous actor, a goal that I never chose to pursue. A lawyer, a writer, a teacher, an artist, a man. I was always oblivious to what was around me at Second City and anywhere else. My story has a point of view. I really don't care about what matters to other people when it comes to the choices and values of my life. And I don't care about their choices either, to each his own. But this particular group, and probably not all of them, I can't recall, now that my pal brings it up, this group is a pack of assholes, mean-spirited and dumb, unfunny, lacking the intelligence and sensitivity to create a real character or make a satiric observation. They're not alone in the history of Second City. A lot of assholes have worked at Second City, but they aren't the people that I choose to remember. I remember a beautiful mirror exercise that I did with Barbara Harris, and the way Paul Sills made me feel that I was special and an artist. And I feel the connective tissue of memory that has gone beyond scenes and words, that acts as an adhesive with many friends that I made when I was performing at Second City in the years that when I was active there and not an alum. And I remember the pain I felt when people that I thought were friends turned out to be in the Second City asshole tradition. and not in the Barbara Harris, Paul Sills wing. My friend tells me that I triumphed that night of the pedophile set. I fully accepted and embraced my role as a pedophile. I stepped down to the edge of the stage and I made the audience attendees at a pedophile convention. And a lyrical song emerged from me, a poem about crime and perversion and outcasts and shame and the possibilities of rehabilitation or not. The pain and destruction visited upon vulnerable people by evil. The audience laughed and was engaged. It probably was the first time in a while that particular stage had some theater take place upon it. My friend said the would-be bully snuck off stage when my true improvisation began to prevail. It reminded me of another time when I wasn't victorious, when they embarrassed me in front of my nephew. But that time didn't hurt anymore. It's been edited clean away, with the thousands of other interactions that I had in my life that were not on the trajectory of my life's meaning. My friend was still processing these untoward events. They have a different meaning in his story, altogether different. It's up to him to tell that story, not me. I said to him on Saturday, "Don't you think those people are kind of stupid and mean? They don't do anything that resembles what we do. And it's not worth wasting our time with them?" Anyway, that's what I've done with them. Their only appearance here is as an explained edit. Lowlands, and if he tarries there, all of his good qualities will go to waste. He will not become evil himself, but will be inconsequential chum for the evil Leviathan that consumes him. The people that I have known from Second City and elsewhere that are mean and envious and competitive, unfailingly, are not good at what they do. They may or may not succeed at it commercially, but they universally suck. And I hesitate to write this because I know from history that many great artists were pricks and that no one is perfect. But maybe this present moment in time has exposed stupidity, envy, competition, and meanness as unforgivable. Choices. My friend invited me to speak with his group at Bughouse Square. It was the only group with an open soapbox. Anyone could share their voice at this summer festival celebrating free speech in the park outside of the Newberry Library. Other groups had soapboxes with entrance requirements. Some could speak, others must listen. The main group held a free speech competition judged by a culture critic from the Chicago Tribune. None of the other soapboxes, and particularly the main one, interested me. Free speech does not involve applications and assessments. The marketplace of ideas is a metaphor to put the emphasis on the individual speaking. Declaring winners and losers diminishes the message, turning democracy and art into show business and advertising. Even at the open soapbox where I spoke, there was a time limit for speeches, 5 minutes each. I understand the practical necessity of the time limit, and such restrictions can actually further art and truth, boundaries that shape that message. But I must say I love how Tarantino could care less about time limits. His movies sprawl and yet are economical. I saw his movie twice, once on Thursday night and once on Sunday afternoon. On Thursday night, I felt it dragged a bit. On Sunday, I saw that each second of screen time was purposeful. I saw that the limitations of Thursday night were mine. I had a long drive from Nashville to Chicago that day. I had overeaten for a week on vacation and was bloated. And the show's running time was the span of 3 bathroom breaks, and I held it the whole time. It took me till the second viewing on Sunday to shake off the cobwebs of all the bad movies that I had seen lately, Movies that asked nothing of me, that actually coddled me with what they thought I'd like, that played bland corporate elevator music and turned the theater into my air-conditioned waiting room, as I hoped that something might soon happen in my life, not the film. A vivid contrast to the powerful and distinctive voice of Tarantino, a man who doesn't compromise what he says or how he says it to reach me. I have to meet him halfway. He's popular, but not for everyone, and there are levels of understanding to what he is saying. That is art, giving as much fodder for contemplation as life itself. Revenge fantasies. Tarantino juxtaposes that which he loves the most with that which he hates, with that which hates what he loves the most and tries to destroy it. He affectionately portrays the objects of his affections, charmed by all their imperfections, which he refuses to ignore, and does the same for what hates his lovers. And then has the objects of affection destroy the haters in surreal, stylistically, and unrealistically violent revenge fantasies. His object is more than catharsis, although he certainly achieves that. He makes choices. This is good. This is bad. This should survive and flourish. This should die. This is end of the rule of law. Art is last hope to save the day. The Supreme Court is tainted with illegitimately appointed judges. The rich and powerful are beyond the arm of the law. The Justice Department is at war with the people. 2 of the last 4 presidents were unelected usurpers. 2 of the last 4 presidents talked a good game and served economic royalists. It was just as bad before those 4, but not as sophisticated in its evil. There are no checks and balances. It's the time of the strongman. Strongmen laugh at Bughouse Square. Losers amuse themselves with impotent words. Friends are exhausted. They want to look away and ignore the problem. What good does it do to be drawn into the ugliness? They want to make choices. They want to forget the present nightmare, like I forgot the mean and stupid Second City actors. My friend doesn't forget them because he hasn't left them. He's still part of their community. I am not. I keep my friends and discard the rest. The assholes don't interest me. I can't do that with America. The lawyers and politicians can't save us. Art can. No government, democracy or not, can survive without the consent of the governed. Tarantino and the Rick blog choose choices. The violence is only the mind. Yes and no. Write it, paint it, sing it, act it, and live it. No lawyer or politician can save you, and you can't save yourself unless you take the stream of unconsciousness of your life, all the random, continuous, disparate, unrelated events, and process them through the lens of your feeling, alchemizing the concoction of events and feeling into meaning, telling your story and committing to it. Live the story. Numbness and discouragement won't do. I love the biographies of artists as much as their art, life as art as life, commitment, everything happening on the national stage in the pornographic epic that the media reports to us every walking moment has happened in my life, my work, the places that I have frequented and still frequent, my relationships. There is an answer. You just have to write it down and apply it as you go along. Our freedom collectively and individually begins on an open soapbox. There is no competition in real art or life. 7/29/19, Indifference, Revenge Fantasies, Revolution, Choices, Free Speech, End of the Rule of Law. Art is the last hope to save the day. Copyright 2019, Richard Thomas.